All right, off to more positive things. So let's talk a little bit more about operant conditioning and what we can do to set up successful positive reinforcement. Well, we start the behavior, starting to reward the behavior by using things like prompting or fading, capturing, which we'll talk about here a little bit more. Shaping is another option that we can use. And once we have the animal actually performing the behavior that we want to continue to use the continuous reinforcement schedule. Basically what this is that we reward every single repetition or offer of the behavior that the animal gives us. This makes the learning occur much faster. Once we can predict that the animal is going to perform the behavior, then we can use discrimination training, which simply means putting it on cue or putting a word to it. So telling the animal that that behavior means this. So when I say sit, we do that. Once we've learned to put it on cue, we start to overlearn, and essentially all this is practicing, practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect, right? The more we practice, the more muscle memory we have, the more automatic it becomes. Once we have practice and we are very proficient in the behavior, then we can start to take it onto an intermittent reinforcement schedule, which means that we reward every couple repetitions of the behavior. Or maybe we use something like praise rather than food every time. And this actually creates a very persistent behavior. So to tell you a little bit more about capturing, what this is really just rewarding spontaneous behavior. We sit and we wait for behavior that resembles the behavior that we want, and when it happens, we reward it. Clicker training is actually really well suited for this because you can just sit there with your clicker and wait, and oh, it happens, you click, and you reward. This is a really, really great option for aggressive or fearful animals because it's very much hands-off. You never actually have to touch the animal to make anything happen. And you can train animals through barriers as well. And this is something that's used actually quite frequently in zoo animals. I don't know about you guys. I really like cats, but I don't really want to go in the pen with a tiger to do my training sessions. When we're talking about shaping, shaping is essentially training by rewarding successive approximation of a target behavior or pieces of it. So you break it down in steps. So this takes advantage of the variability of behavior that animals can offer, so it's not always exactly the same each time. And really what you do is you have an idea in your head of what the next step is going to look like, and as it happens, you gradually become more discriminating in what you're going to reward. For those of you who've been around training world a little bit, you'll recognize this as increasing criteria. Keys to shaping are to have small steps and to be patient. So if the animal isn't performing the desired behavior that you are trying to reward at that moment, go back a step or two and proceed through your pieces of the puzzle, but make it smaller steps for them. Break it down so it's a little bit easier. They don't have to make quite as big of a leap. And then you only reward the best or the most accurate behaviors. So as you can imagine, using this technique, the shaping, you need to have a training plan. And this doesn't mean that you have to be a professional trainer and have everything all written out and down for you step by step. We're going to do this, this, and this today, and then this tomorrow. But have an idea, at least in your head, of the different pieces of the behavior and how you're going to reward it. So for example, if you wanted to teach a dog to lie down and play dead, first you have to start with a sit, then a down, and then lie down on your side, and then close your eyes. So you've got 4 steps there. But you might, in actuality, break down going from a down to a lie down on the side into maybe 3 or 4 additional steps. As long as you have an idea where you're going with that, you've got a shaping plan.
Well, we have another poll question, and this one you can check all that apply. What did you use to reward a cat during training? Did you use food, petting, brushing, playing, other, or not applicable? You may have to scroll down to find your submit button, but please fill this out on your screen. What did you use to reward a cat during training? I'd like to remind you that there is a certificate of attendance available tonight after the webcast, or during the webcast. You can go to the resource widget at the bottom of your page and download it and save or print your certificate of attendance. Also, please get your questions in early. We're running through this webcast pretty quickly, so we would like to answer as many questions as we can at the end. Let's look and see what the results are. Food, petting, brushing, playing, and other. Yes.
Great. So looks like food, petting, and playing are the most popular rewards for cats, which is good because when we're looking at rewards, we want it to be inherently reinforcing, meaning it in and of itself has meaning that's positive to the cat, and I agree that these three certainly fit into that category. For some cats, brushing fits into that category, and for some cats, other things fit into that category. So this is great. This is a nice spread.